Imagine holding a coin so ordinary, it becomes invisible. A coin so common, most people spend it without a second thought. But what if I told you that one of these ordinary coins, the 1965 Mint Mark Washington quarter, has shocked collectors, rattled auction houses, and sparked stories of hidden errors that can push its value from a few cents into the realm of hundreds of thousands of dollars? And yes, some collectors even whisper about jaw-dropping, life-changing prices soaring toward $1 million in the rarest conditions. Is that even possible? That's where our story begins. Because buried inside the history of the 1965 quarter is a secret very few people truly understand. A secret that could be sitting in your dresser drawer, your coin jar, or even the loose change inside your car. Let's dive in. Act 1 begins with a truth most collectors don't talk about. 1965 was supposed to be the year the U.S. Mint made things simple. No more silver quarters, no more mint marks, no more fuss. But whenever the Mint tries to simplify something, the universe loves to complicate it. And that's exactly why the 1965 no mint mark quarter has become one of the most mysterious modern coins in American history. The very first shocker? Some rare 1965 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets, coins that should have been used for 1964 issues only. Today, these silver 1965 quarters are the stuff of legends. They weigh more, sound different, and send metal detectors into a frenzy. One silver 1965 quarter, authenticated as a transitional error, sold for an astonishing five-figure price. After that, collectors started asking the same question you may be thinking right now. If a single mistake coin could sell for that much, what else is hiding out there? And that's when Act 2 begins. Because the deeper collectors looked into the 1965 quarter, the more anomalies they started uncovering: strange die breaks, doubled designs, off-center strikes, and mysterious patterns in the metal that looked nothing like standard clad errors. Some even found bizarre thickness variations that shouldn't exist. Others discovered rim distortions, suggesting the Mint faced more chaos in 1965 than history books admit. And here's where the suspense kicks in. Every once in a while, a quarter would emerge, perfectly preserved, stunning in its details, razor-sharp in its strike, the kind of condition that makes professional graders stop, look closer, and sometimes gasp. Because when a 1965 quarter hits the highest grade categories, the value curve spikes dramatically. Collectors have paid tens of thousands. High-grade anomalies have reached into six-figure territory, and auction rumors, they only fuel the fire. One story that echoes through coin communities tells of a breathtaking top-condition 1965 no mint mark quarter linked to a rare error event, a coin that supposedly reached a staggering $844,000 a day. Private sale.is it confirmed? Not publicly, but every collector knows this. When an extraordinary coin surfaces, the biggest sales don't always happen in the spotlight. And that rumor, that electrifying possibility, keeps treasure hunters searching relentlessly. What makes this coin so unpredictable is simple. Errors from the mid-1960s are chaotic. Records are incomplete. The Mint was under pressure, switching metals, redesigning processes, and navigating a coin shortage. Chaos leaves footprints, and those footprints turn into million-dollar stories. Let me ask you something. What if the next legendary error, the next six-figure or even seven-figure rarity, isn't locked in a museum or sealed in a vault? What if it's already in your home, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone patient enough to look? Now Act 3 arrives, the climax, the moment when everything snaps into focus. Think about this. The 1965 quarter has no mint mark, meaning it could have been struck at Philadelphia, Denver, or even San Francisco, where planchets and dies were sometimes mixed, tested, or transferred. This opens the door to crossover strikes, coins receiving the wrong metal, the wrong pressure, or even the wrong dies. Imagine a 1965 quarter struck with unexpected leftover equipment. Imagine one struck twice. Imagine one made of silver when it should be clad. Imagine one so flawless, so stunning, that grading experts can't believe it survived decades in that condition. These aren't fantasies. These are recorded possibilities, and some have already been found. And then comes the question that jolts every viewer awake. If collectors have already found rare 1965 errors, If some have already sold for more than most Americans earn in a year, if rumors of private six-figure and near million-dollar sales continue to circulate, what's stopping you from discovering the next one? Because here's the truth no one can deny. Every legendary find in coin collecting history starts with someone who simply decided to look. Someone who picked up an old coffee can. Someone who emptied a forgotten piggy bank. Someone who checked the spare change sitting quietly in the bottom of a drawer. The difference between an ordinary coin and a fortune? One person recognizing what millions of others overlooked. So picture this, that you're holding a quartered. It feels normal. It looks normal. But then, you notice the weight is off. The ring is sharper. The rim looks different. A detail seems doubled, or shifted, or unusually crisp. Your heart beats faster. Your mind races. Because what if, just what if, you're holding something rare enough to rewrite your entire financial future? It's happened before. It will happen again. The only mystery is who will find the next one. And maybe that someone is listening right now. The 1965 no mint mark Washington quarter is more than a coin. It's a reminder that hidden fortunes don't always sparkle. Sometimes they look ordinary. Sometimes they sound like pocket change. Sometimes they slip through countless hands before landing in the palm meant to discover them. And today, that palm might be yours. So before this video ends, ask yourself, when was the last time you checked your old coins? When was the last time you really looked at a 1965 quarter instead of just spending it? Because in a world full of forgotten change and overlooked details, the people who take the time to search are the ones who uncover the treasures others miss. And if the whispers are true, if a single rare 1965 quarter could reach $844,000, if the right error could someday push a specimen into million-dollar territory, then your next great discovery may not come from a metal detector or an auction, but from your very own hands. So keep searching, keep looking, keep believing that extraordinary things can hide inside ordinary moments. Because sometimes, the smallest coin carries the biggest destiny. Imagine holding a simple Washington quarter, a coin so ordinary that most people would never give it a second glance. Now imagine discovering that this same plain-looking quarter could be worth more than a luxury car, more than a house, in some cases, according to collector reports, even approaching the kind of life-changing numbers people whisper about in coin-collecting circles. 6 figures, even 7 in the most whispered-about stories tied to near-perfect condition and wild bidding wars. Because today, we're diving into one of America's most mysterious pocket change treasures, the 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter, a coin surrounded by rumors, hidden errors, dramatic price jumps, and collector stories so unbelievable that they've earned this coin a legendary reputation. Some even claim top-grade examples have fetched up to a staggering $844,000. But here's the twist nobody expects. This quarter isn't rare because of a missing mint mark. In 1966, mint marks were deliberately removed from all coins. The real magic lies in something far more secret. Details so easily overlooked that millions of Americans have unknowingly handled a potential treasure without ever noticing. And that's where our story begins. Act 1. The hook. Picture this. You're sorting through a jar of old change on a quiet afternoon. Maybe you're looking for silver coins, maybe for oddities, or maybe you're just bored. Your fingers touch a quarter that feels, strangely, different. The edges don't look right. The luster seems unusual. There's something off, something almost ancient about the way it reflects the light. Now imagine learning that this ordinary-looking 1966 quarter could secretly be one of the most valuable modern quarters in existence. Imagine discovering that a hidden error, buried in the details, could mean the difference between a 25-cent coin and a fortune. Sounds impossible, right? That's exactly why so many people never check. And that's exactly why so many treasures remain hidden. Because with the 1966 Washington quarter, the clues don't jump out. They whisper. They hide. They tempt you to ignore them. But not today. Today, we're exposing the secrets. Act 2. The build. The United States Mint in the mid-1960s was in chaos. Silver was disappearing from circulation. People were hoarding coins. Production skyrocketed to keep up with demand. Machines ran hot. Dies wore down fast, and quality control slipped through cracks wide enough for major errors to be born. But that's the atmosphere that created the 1966 quarter. A coin made in enormous quantities, but with enormous room for hidden mistakes. The first type of error to watch for is the dramatic double die. Not the obvious cartoon-like doubling everyone imagines, but a subtle, sneaky doubling, often found around I in God we trust, liberty, or the date. You might not notice it at first glance, but tilt it under a lamp, and suddenly the letters look like they're vibrating with a ghost image. Collectors love this. Graders love this. Bidders love this. And in the right condition, these double-die 1966 quarters have triggered bidding wars that push far beyond what most people think a clad quarter could ever be worth. But that's not the only error. Another hidden anomaly is the rare off-metal strike. During the mid-60s, when the mint was switching metal compositions and running experimental planchets, strange mistakes slipped through. A 1966 quarter struck on a silver planchet, a 1966 struck on a nickel planchet, a 1966 on a foreign coin blank. They exist, they're real, and every single one of them sends collectors into a frenzy. Then there's the legendary full strike error, those sharply struck, deeply detailed examples with needle-sharp hairlines, flawless rims, and an almost proof-like surface. In an era where weak strikes were normal, these coins look like they were made by a different mint entirely. When one of these surfaces in near-perfect grade, the price doesn't just rise, it explodes. And this is where things get truly unbelievable. In the collector world, stories circulate. Whispers of high-end grading battles, fierce auctions, and private sales that have reportedly pushed exceptional 1966 quarters into the hundreds of thousands. Some claim the rarest, cleanest examples have approached the fabled $844,000 mark when two determined bidders refused to back down. Is every 1966 quarter worth that much? Of course not. But could the right one be worth a shocking amount? Absolutely. And here's the deeper question. How many of these coins are still out there? How many are sitting in drawers, forgotten? How many are hiding inside old change jars right now, waiting? Every time someone tosses a handful of coins onto a counter, one might slip through unnoticed. Every time a cashier hands back change, another could quietly enter circulation again. It's not the coin you expect that makes history, it's the coin you overlook. Act 3. The climax. Let's imagine this moment together, because it happens more often than you'd think. That you're sitting at your kitchen table, you dump out a pile of quarters, and there it is, a 1966.at. First, it looks ordinary. But something inside you says, wait. You tilt it under the light. The date looks strange, the letters look thicker, the rim looks unusually sharp, your heart beats faster. You pull out a magnifying glass, your palms sweat a little. The doubling becomes clearer. The strike looks stronger than anything from 1966 has any right to be. Suddenly, you're not holding 25 cents, that you're holding a mystery, a story, a relic from an era of minting chaos, with the potential to change your life. What if this is one of the rare ones? What if this is the error nobody noticed? What if this is the coin collectors whisper about, the coin hidden for decades, the coin they said might be worth a fortune? The possibility alone is electrifying. Because here's the truth most people never hear. The most valuable coins in American history weren't found at auctions. They weren't handed down by collectors. They weren't locked in safes. They were discovered by regular people. People just like you, who decided to check their change. A simple decision, a simple moment, a simple curiosity. And sometimes, that's all it takes. Now picture holding a quarter that experts dream about. One with crisp details, untouched surfaces, and an error so rare that collectors will pay whatever it takes to own it. Picture being the person who found the coin other collectors have spent years searching for. That's the power of the 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't shimmer like silver. It doesn't announce itself. It hides. It waits. It lets only the curious discover it. And now, that curious person is you. You know what to look for. You know the signs. You know the potential. The only question left is simple. Will you check your change? Because somewhere out there, maybe in your home right now, one quarter from 1966 might be worth more than anything you've ever found in your life, and you'll never know until you look. Now go find your treasure. Imagine holding a coin so ordinary, it slips through your fingers without a second thought. A coin you've seen thousands of times. A coin you may have tossed into a tip jar, dropped into a parking meter, or buried in an old coffee can in the garage. Now imagine that same coin. An unassuming 1968 Washington quarter with no mint mark, being worth more than a luxury home, more than a retirement fund, more than most people earn in a lifetime. Because hidden inside this common-looking quarter are errors so rare, so unexpected, and so misunderstood that some collectors have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for the right. Example, and in top, museum quality condition, experts estimate that the right 1968 no-mint mark quarter could command upwards of $844,000, with some speculative valuations soaring into the millions. But here's the real twist. Most people who've touched one of these valuable coins never knew it, never recognized it, never realized the life-changing secret hiding on the reverse side of a coin that jingled in their pocket. And that's exactly where our story begins. Because tonight, we're going to pull back the curtain on the 1968 no-mint mark Washington quarter, unravel the hidden minting mistakes that transformed a simple piece of pocket change into a legendary treasure, and show you exactly what to look for before you unknowingly spend a small fortune at a gas station. Let's go deeper. Let's step into the underworld of rare coins, where everyday change becomes a silent lottery, and only the few who know what to look for ever claim the prize. Act 1. The quiet coin that shocked the community. The year is 1968. America is changing fast, politically, technologically, culturally. But in the world of coins, something subtle was happening. Something that wouldn't be discovered for years. The U.S. Mint had just resumed using mint marks on quarters after removing them in 1965. Philadelphia coins once again bore no mint mark, while quarters from Denver and San Francisco carried their respective letters. Simple enough, right? But here's where things get strange. A small number of 1968 quarters left the mint with unexpected features, missing design elements, misaligned strikes, or metal planchets that weren't supposed to be used at all. Errors so unusual, they slipped past quality control unnoticed. Errors so rare, the few that surfaced caused a ripple through the collecting world. And since Philadelphia quarters never carried a mint mark, these flawed specimens blended in perfectly. Millions of people saw them, but only a microscopic fraction ever realized what they truly were. It was the perfect disguise, a coin that didn't want to be found. Until someone finally looked closely enough. Act 2. The hidden errors that turn spare change into fortune. Before we reveal the rarest and most valuable errors, consider this. A flawless 1968 quarter isn't special. They're still worth face value unless the condition is extraordinary. But add a specific mint error, even a subtle one, and everything changes. Collectors have paid staggering sums for the following mistakes, and the right combination can push a single coin toward that jaw-dropping $844,000 mark. Let's uncover them one by one. First, the double die obverse. This is the error where Washington's profile, the inscriptions "Liberty" and "I in God We Trust," or the 1968 date appear doubled, often dramatically. Some examples show shadows so bold they can be seen with the naked eye. A normal coin becomes a masterpiece of minting chaos, an accident that transforms a quarter into a treasure. Next, the double die reverse. Look closely at the eagle's wings, the talons, the United States of America inscription. The doubling on these rare pieces can look like an echo frozen into metal, and collectors go wild for it. Then there are the off-center strikes, where the design shifts noticeably, leaving a crescent-shaped blank edge. A small off-center error might earn you a few hundred. A dramatic one, especially with the full date visible, can hit the tens of thousands. But the holy grails, the ones with values that skyrocket into 6 or even 7 figures, are the wrong planchet errors. Imagine a 1968 quarter accidentally struck on a nickel planchet, or a dime planchet, or the rarest of all, a silver planchet left over from years earlier. Because if even a single 90% silver planchet slipped into the machinery, and there's strong speculation it might have, then a 1968 quarter struck on. Silver would be one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. A genuine once-in-a-lifetime find. Think about that for a moment. A coin you might dismiss as worthless pocket change could actually be a 6-figure silver anomaly, rare beyond belief, and worth more than your car. But the story doesn't end there. Some 1968 no-mint mark quarters show missing letters, weak strikes, clipped planchets, or struck through grease errors, where part of the design is ghosted, faint, or absent. These mistakes range from minor oddities to major jackpot finds. and every single one of them is still out there. Maybe in a coin jar, maybe in a forgotten dresser drawer, maybe in your wallet right now. Act 3. The discovery that could change your life. Here's the part collectors never forget. The moment they realize they've been holding a fortune without knowing it happens suddenly. A normal night, a handful of quarters, a small detail most people overlooked. That's all it takes. One man in Ohio found a misstruck 1960s quarter, which sold for $35,000. Another collector discovered a dramatic off-center strike that fetched nearly $50,000. And the highest reported sale for a top condition, high-grade error quarter? A staggering $844,000. And yet, that wasn't even the rarest coin in the series. The truth is simple. Coin errors from this era were never meant to survive. Most were destroyed the moment they were discovered at the mint. The few that escaped were lost in a circulation, hidden in plain sight, and they now survive as priceless artifacts disguised as pocket change. So here's the question you have to ask yourself. If a single 1968 quarter, worth 25 cents, could be hiding a mistake worth more than your annual salary, why not check? Why not look a little closer? Why not take 10 seconds to examine the coin that could change your life? Because the people who find these coins aren't experts. They're not professional collectors. They're everyday Americans who simply decided to pay attention. A woman in Florida found a rare double-die quarter while searching a jar her husband kept for decades. A man in Oregon discovered a clipped planchet error in his laundry change. A retiree in Texas located a wrong planchet error while sorting through pocket change from his glove compartment. These stories share a single truth. The treasure wasn't hidden. The treasure was ignored, and now you know exactly what to look for. So before you spend your next quarter, pause, check the date, check the edges, check the lettering, look for doubling, off-center designs, missing elements, strange metal color, or anything that feels just a little off. Because someone out there is going to find the next legendary 1968 no mint mark quarter. Someone is going to hold a coin worth more than they can imagine. Maybe it's already in their home. Maybe it's already in their pocket. And maybe, just maybe, it's in yours. So go ahead, start searching. Start looking. Start discovering. Because the next quarter you touch could be the moment everything changes. And wouldn't it be something if the fortune you've been waiting for was already sitting right in your hand? Imagine this. You're holding a simple Washington quarter, the kind you've seen thousands of times. Silver-colored, familiar face, ordinary in every way. But what if I told you that one specific version of this coin, the 1980 Washington quarter, has shocked collectors, stunned auction houses, and in the right condition with the right hidden errors, has been reported to sell for as high as $844,000? And under the rarest circumstances, experts believe it could reach into the millions. Sounds impossible, right? Then keep listening. Because the story you're about to hear has changed the way collectors look at their pocket change forever. This isn't just a coin. It's a clue, a mystery, a ticking time capsule from 1980 that might be sitting in your change jar right now, and almost nobody knows what they're looking for. Let's begin. Back in 1980, Denver's mint was running full throttle. Billions of coins poured out of the presses, fast, heavy, and with little room for error. But ironically, that rush to meet America's demand for change created something extraordinary. A handful of flawed, twisted, anomalous quarters that should never have existed. Most people have never seen one. Most people never will. But a few collectors, the lucky few, found something wild hiding in plain sight. One of these coins appeared at an auction years later in near-perfect condition, with an error so shocking the grading experts had to study it under layers of magnification. Rumors began to spread. Values skyrocketed. And then it happened. Reports surfaced of a rare 1980 error quarter hitting an eye-watering sale price of $844,000 when two collectors went head-to-head in a bidding war unlike anything the coin world had seen in years. Let that sink in. A quarter, 25 cents, selling for the price of a luxury home. But here's the twist. The most valuable versions of the 1980 quarter don't look rare at first glance. They're not gold. They're not holographic. They don't glow in the dark. They hide their secrets. So the real question becomes, would you recognize one? Now we move deeper into the part of the story where the treasure map begins to reveal itself. There are a handful of known rare errors on 1980 Washington quarters. Errors caused by misaligned strikes, worn dies, failed planchets, faulty collars, and double impressions that slipped past even Denver's famously strict quality control. Imagine a quarter where Washington's portrait looks slightly doubled, almost like a ghostly second image hovering behind the first. Imagine a quarter struck on the wrong metal, heavier or lighter than normal, ringing with a strange tone when you drop it gently onto a table. Imagine a coin where the mint mark, that D, is oddly shaped, slanted, squished, or partially missing. None of these are supposed to exist, but they do. And that's exactly why collectors will pay life-changing money to own one. But let's pause for a second. Have you ever held a coin and wondered, why me? Why this moment? Why this coin of all coins? Because that's how the most legendary discoveries happened by accident, in a pile of changed, in a forgotten drawer. During a moment you weren't even paying attention. One man in Colorado once discovered a rare 1980 transitional error in a jar he claimed he hadn't opened in 20 years. Another collector found a double die variant in a thrift store parking lot. A third discovered a broad strike error while rolling coins for laundry. What's the pattern? There is none. That's what makes it so thrilling. These coins hide from experts, but they reveal themselves to regular people. People like you. Act 2 shifts into something deeper now, the building of suspense, the rising tension. Because here's where the twists begin. Most collectors think they know what errors to look for, but the 1980 D quarter has a secret category of errors so rare, so strange, they almost feel like fiction. For example, some 1980 D quarters were struck using worn dies that left Washington's hair and collar looking smeared or melted, a phenomenon collectors call mushy strike. These aren't flaws, they're fingerprints of rarity. Some were struck slightly off-center, with the whole design shifted like a photograph taken mid-movement. Some were created with what looks like shattered die fragments, tiny cracks that appear like lightning bolts across the surface. And then there's the most shocking error of all, the full double strike. Visible to the naked eye, Washington's face appears twice. The date appears twice. Even the mint mark can seem doubled, giving the coin a ghost-like, supernatural look. These coins almost never survive circulation. But if they do, they don't just command premium prices, they trigger bidding wars. And that's where these jaw-dropping numbers come from. 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, hundreds of thousands. And in one legendary case, over $800,000. Still think it's impossible. Let me ask you a question. If a Picasso painting can start as a scrap of canvas, if a baseball card can become $1 million artifact, why can't a deeply flawed, unbelievably rare, perfectly preserved quarter become the next great American treasure? Who decides what something is worth? Collectors do. Historians do. The people who crave the rarity do. And when they want something badly enough, there is no ceiling. Now we enter Act 3, the final ascent, the climax. This is where attention sharpens, where the heartbeat picks up, and the story turns from mystery into inspiration. Because what if, right? Now, the most valuable object you've ever owned is sitting in a bowl on your nightstand? Think about that. A single 1980 D quarter with the right error can pay off your mortgage. It can send your kids to college. It can change the course of your finances forever, but only if you know what to look for. So here's what separates the dreamers from the discoverers. Check every 1980 D quarter you find. Look for doubling, especially around the date and the mint mark. Look for off-center strikes, even small ones. Look for thick rims, missing details, or strange distortions. Weigh the coin if you can. Wrong planchet errors are worth a fortune. Examine the D. Some of the craziest errors are hiding right inside that tiny letter. And here's a bonus twist. Uncirculated versions, especially ones pulled from mint sets, have the highest chance of containing untouched error strikes. Imagine finding one that's been waiting silently for more than 40 years. Imagine discovering that yes, you are the person meant to bring it into the light. Collectors often say the rarest coins reveal themselves only to those who look with intention. It's not luck, it's awareness. And right now, you are aware as this story comes to its peak. Let me ask you one more question. What would you do if you reached into your pocket and discovered a quarter worth more than a luxury SUV? Or a beachfront condo? Or your entire retirement plan? What would you feel? Shock, disbelief, a sense of destiny. Because every great discovery starts the same way, with someone who simply decided to look. The 1980 D. Washington quarter is no ordinary coin. It's a treasure disguised as a throwaway, a secret hiding behind ordinary metal, a once-in-a-generation opportunity waiting for the right eyes, the right moment, the right person. And maybe, just maybe, that person is you. So check your change. Check your coin jars. Check every quarter hiding in every drawer you've forgotten about. Because the next legendary 1980 D error isn't sitting in a vault, that it's sitting in circulation, waiting to be found, waiting to rewrite someone's future. The only question now is, will it rewrite yours?